And we're live. Hey, everybody. I'll be right with you all. I lost my page. I was going to share something with you while I was on the line tonight. But somehow or the other, I closed my book up. Hello, Cammie. How are you? Kimberly, good to see you. RT. Mariposa, good evening. Paulette, good evening. Is this why you're not answering my text? Hey, I didn't get a text from you. Did you send me a text? Let me double check. My phone's not. Listen, we've been outdoors most of the day, Paulette. Sorry about that. Let me see if I've got something on here. No, not there. No. This phone is not the best phone in the world. I don't know which phone you sent it to, but I'll check and see if I got it. I'm sorry, Paulette. Diane, howdy. Andrew, good evening from England. Well, it's good to see you, sir. I'm glad you're tuning in with us from England. Hello, Nancy. It's good to see you. And, on Messenger. On Messenger? No, I didn't see anything on Messenger. Let me check that real quick right here. On Facebook Messenger, Paulette? You must have just sent it. 5:48. Well, no, it wasn't just sent it. You've had it here on here a few minutes, about an hour or so. I'm sorry I missed that. Like I said, Sandy and I have been outside most of the day and had just walked in and said, well, we've got to get our video going if we're going to do a live this evening. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll check those pets out later. I saw that. And let's see here now. Tana, hello. Carolyn, it's good to be with you this evening. Caroline, good evening. Randy, good to see you. Coppertown Girl, good afternoon from sunny Arizona. Zombie, good to see you. Freedom Rain, hey, hope everyone's doing well this evening. The title of the video, Rules for Thee, but Not Me. I'm going to talk a little bit about the person in the picture and some stuff she said before this mandate was made, and I'm going to try to figure out how things have changed just in no time flat. It just it's just mind-boggling to me sometimes how politicians work. they just go through and make up rules as they go. That's kind of what I'm seeing. But anyway, we're going to talk about that, and I was going to share a recipe with you guys this evening in the video. I'm sure that most of you already know, or many of you already know how to make your stuff, your own things. Somebody that's watching right here real close, tell me, CJ from Kentucky caught another live. Well, thank you, CJ. Glad you're here. Tell me if this is turned in the right direction so you can read it, or is it backwards to you? Is that turned right or is it backwards? I need to know if I've got my camera set up right. Well, Mariposa, I can't keep up with them. It's good. Okay, it's right. All right. Well, see, it looks backwards to me, so okay, we're good. I am glad. Well, let me just go ahead and share this with you, and those that get on later can see this. But we are going to talk about the title of the video here in just a minute. This is a homemade toothpaste recipe that I ran across that someone had shared with this magazine. And I thought, man, you know what? If things got tight and things got bad and we weren't able to get out and get to the stores and find this stuff, hygiene is going to be a very important thing in a lockdown or in a grid down situation, to be able to stay clean and to keep our mouths clean and our bodies clean. We've not talked a whole lot about that in any of our videos about things that we need in grid down situations and things like that. We've just kind of brushed over those things, saying some of the things that we might need. But things like hydrogen peroxide is a really good thing to have on hand, because you can brush your teeth with hydrogen peroxide and just baking soda. I mean, and you have zero chemicals involved in that as far as stuff like fluoride and those kind of things. So it's important. It's important to have things on hand, to try to get these things ahead of time if you see something here that you think you might like. And I'm going to read you what this young lady said before she put this in the magazine. But she said, I've been using the following recipe for homemade toothpaste for over 6 months now, and I love it. So easy to mix up, very effective, and there are no harmful chemicals in sight. Now, if you want a smoother feel, you can add vegetable glycerin, and for a sweeter taste, you can add powdered stevia. It may take a little getting used to, but it's so cheap and easy, and it allows you to avoid the fluoride and additives found in conventional toothpaste. So if you want a toothpaste that's good and clean, and good evening, Texas Janet, it's good to see you. And the purring lady, good evening. Right here, I want to show it to you, and that way, and I'll read it too. But I want you to be able to, later on when you log on, you can just pause the screen right there, and you can write these ingredients down to make your own toothpaste. So this might be a good thing to have on hand. But what those are is 1 cup of baking soda, a 1/4 cup of hydrogen peroxide. You can add more or less depending on the consistency you like. 1 to 3 drops of peppermint essential oil, and 1 to 2 drops of tea oil. And you can make your own toothpaste with that. And that sounds like it would be a very good toothpaste. So again, she said you could add different things, and we read that to make it, thicker or sweeter to the taste, or whatever it might be. But I thought that might be a handy thing for us as preppers to have on hand to make our own toothpaste. And if I can think, I may go ahead and put that on our website. I added a new recipe yesterday and today on backroadsliving.com. If you go over there in the top menu, it says blog. Click that link, and there's 2 brand new recipes that I put on out of this book. I put 2 recipes out of this book on there in the last 2 days, and they're printable. All you have to do is click blog, and it's the first 2 recipes it shows on our blog, and click on one of them. The recipe will come up, and there's a feature there in green, little old bitty green command there that says print, and you can click that, and it'll put it in a printable form so you can print it right off on your computer. I also have a video on here somewhere on how to do that, but it's real easy to do. Anyway, coconut oil, if you used on teeth and gums, will actually stop receding gums and reverse the effect of gingivitis. As it does this, it also whitens your teeth. How about that, Paulette? Folks, did you hear that? I didn't know that. Coconut oil. Well, we'll have to give that a round and see. I'd like to have my teeth whitened a little bit more, but I'm not going to the dentist. Clove oil for a toothache? Yes. And hello, cat, it's good to see you. Peppermint oil is good for a lot of things. I have heard that. And Mariposa says she has several of those ingredients already. And Jean, baking soda is full of sodium. If you have a problem with sodium, watch that. True. And yeah, we're about 15 behind on the like button. Thank you, Kat. 35 people watching, and 20 likes. And hello, Luann from Kentucky. Good to have you. Anyway, guys, we've got plenty of people on here to talk about this. What I want to share with you this evening. We're not going to be real long. We're talking about the members of Congress. Now, we realized that last week. Let's see, what day is it here? It wasn't even last week. I've lost track of the days. I tell you, that's something else, isn't it? Here it is, Sunday. Today is Sunday. Okay. The 12th. So, yes, it was last week. Last week, the president announced that he was mandating the inoculation for all federal employees. That included anybody that received the federal funding, like hospitals and schools and different places, anything that received that. And he also said that if you work for the federal government, that you just well get your people inoculated, because that was going to be required also. And I thought, well, he was talking about contractors. And hello, smart girl in the city. Any contractor that works for the federal government has to be inoculated now. And I found this interesting, this article that I ran across after he had mandated that. I hadn't seen it beforehand, but I ran across it yesterday, I think it was. And thank you, Mariposa. I appreciate that. This was a statement from the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. I'm going to kind of read over what she said. I think I'll move it. I've got another screen over here. I think I'll move this to the other screen now. I'm going to be looking up and away from you guys when I read it, okay? So, and I may have to tilt my head and turn my head and do like this and do like that, and I have to use my bifocals, so just pay no mind to all that. But like I say, I ran across this article. I wanted to share it with you. It says members of Congress and their staff are exempt from the Biden inoculation mandate. Now I'm going to reread that so you'll follow it, okay? Members of Congress, staff exempt from Biden inoculation mandate. Members of Congress, and that will include the Senate and all the staff, and that includes the White House, are exempt from this mandate that the president made. So, rules for thee, but not me. Mandates for thee, but not me. Now, I remember, and I'm going to read some in this article for you in just a few minutes, but I remember back last year, well, actually this year, I'm sorry, we're still in this year. I've got this time so mixed up with everything that's been going on. It's just crazy. And hello, Happy Mac, it's good to see you. It's just, this stuff has, none of this stuff, if you research this stuff, if you'll do a little research and ask yourself questions, none of this stuff makes any sense. None of it, from the mask to the 6 foot distancing. Now this is just my opinion, okay? This is an opinion piece right here. I'm just giving you from all the research that Sandy and I have done. None of it makes any sense. Absolutely none of it. The most fearful people in the United States right now are those who have been inoculated twice and waiting on a booster. They're scared to death that somebody's going to give them this disease. Well, if that works, why are you afraid? If that's safe and it works, why are you afraid? And yes, Kat, the postal workers are exempt. Imagine that. Imagine that you live in a country where a president will stand up and talk hateful to you because you've not had that inoculation. And he did just that. He talked very hateful to people who hadn't had it. Talked very brazen to them. And tried to divide again as he spoke the people who have had it and who have not. It's all about the division and the hatred. But imagine that you were to live in a country that the president of that country would stand up and say that we're going to mandate that everybody has to get this. Well, except for the people that work in my White House and the people in Congress and the people in the Senate and all their staffers and the Postal Service. Well, the Postal Service handles everybody's mail. Well, they can wear gloves. Well, that's true, they can. But they still handle everybody's mail. And then we go in Walmart, and you know, if it's a super Walmart in a big city, they may have been 10,000 people in that Walmart that day, and maybe 5,000 of them may have handled everything in the store. And then everybody else is going in handling the stuff again. And buying it and taking it home with them. Same with big grocery stores. Don't make any sense. Anyway, let's read this and then I'll get back into some of the let's see. Yeah, I agree with you, Happy Mac. It's not in my business if anybody's got the V or not. I don't care. If you want to get it, that's fine. Pour it on it. Get them all, get the booster. I don't care. That's your business. That is your business. Do it. I don't care. And it's none of the government's business if you get it or not. And I'm going to prove to you it's none of the government's business right here. Listen to this article. Let me read this article to you. It says members of Congress, their staff, and federal court system employees are exempt from the Biden administration's new inoculation mandate, verified mandate, according to Newsweek. Now, we read an article in Newsweek that uncovered this. On Thursday, Biden issued 2 executive orders mandating that federal workers, federal contractors, and workers for companies with more than 100 employees take the COVID-19 jab or face unemployment and fines. Now remember, he's going to fine businesses. Yeah, if they don't mandate this. While Biden's order applies to employees of the executive branch. Now listen real close, guys. Listen. His order applies to the executive branch. The House and Senate are part of the separate legislative branch. And of course, the courts are part of the judicial branch. So the new orders don't apply. Building on the president's announcement in July to strengthen safety requirements for the uninoculated, the unverified federal workers, the president has signed an executive order to take those actions a step further and require all federal executive branch workers to be verified, reads Biden's COCO action plan titled Path Out of the Pandemic. So all federal workers have to be verified now, but the legislative and the judicial branch are exempt. The president also signed an executive order directing that this standard be extended to employees of contractors that do business with the federal government. The plan continues. As part of this effort, the Department of Defense, the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Indian Health Service, and the National Institute of Health will complete implementation of their previously announced inoculation requirements that cover 2.5 million people. That's a lot of people. The New York Times reported on Thursday that the executive order does not apply to those who work for Congress or the federal courts, citing White House officials. Speaker of the House Now listen real close to what she said. That's why her picture's on the front of this. I wanted you to hear exactly what Nancy Pelosi said. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi said at a press conference on April the 29th. Now listen, back in April. What's changed from April to now is what I'd like to know. That the White House could not require members to be vaccinated. Video clips of those remarks gained renewed attention online following Biden's announcement. So here is the thing, she said. This is how she said it. So here, this is Nancy talking, so here is the thing. We can't require someone to be verified. We can't do that. That's just not what we can do. It is a matter of privacy to know who is or who isn't. End quote. That's what Nancy said. Okay, let's quote again. I can't go to the Capitol physician and say, give me the names of people who aren't verified so I can go encourage them to make it known to others to encourage them to be verified. So we can't do that. End quote. What changed? It was a matter of privacy, she said. Well, did you know that we have over 800,000 registered sex offenders in the United States of America, and none of them have to carry any kind of verification as to who they are? They don't have to prove anything. They can come and go and walk right among you at church. They'd walk among you at Walmart. They can walk among you at Kroger. They can walk among you when you're taking your kids out to the swimming parks. All this stuff, you don't know who they are. They don't have to verify who they are. Do you know why? Because it's against the Privacy Act. It violates their privacy according to the United States Constitution. But they're going to try to make people who are unverified give their medical records, their medical information. And right here, Nancy Pelosi said on April the 29th, she said, we can't require people to do that. She said, that's just not what we can do. It's a matter of privacy to know who is and who isn't. So what's changed? Their minds. That's it. They've just changed their minds. Anyway, let me see if I can get my mouse back over here. Oh, let's get back up here and let's talk just a second. We're going to talk some more about this right here too, though. There was something else I was going to share with you guys. Don't forget to go back and watch the front of the video. I gave that toothpaste recipe in there if anybody's interested in it that came in later. And it's real easy. It's a real easy toothpaste to do. Well, I'm not going to sit here and look through that book again for another 5 minutes to find it. But anyway, Paulette, she said fever blisters in the mouth and mouth sores can be stopped and pain taken away with a small piece of cotton and Vicks mentholatum. How about that? I like that. Hello, Annabelle. It's good to see you. Let's see who I've missed that's come in the room. Texas Janet says, word they may stop Medicare doctors from treating people who are not inoculated. I'm not sickly, but my husband needs medical care. I worry about that too, Texas. I think that if they can push their way through this thing, that they'll do it for Medicare and Medicaid, that they will do it for the VAs, anybody that falls under their federal jurisdiction, that they may start requiring this. And I heard rumor that the VA, that they was already working it through the VA, but I don't know that that's true or not. So that's just rumor. You'd have to verify that somehow, and I can't. Yes, purring lady, the illegals are exempt. They're not right. They don't fall under this mandate. Uh, I, I hear you, Texas Janet. I'm just not going to read it out loud. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Yeah, common sense is not common. You're very right about that, praying lady. Mariposa said she's going to be sharing some recipes shortly. Now, I may not get them all on at one time. I'm kind of pressed, but I do love to get the recipes, and I will share them. It may take me, one now and one later, but we don't not send them because of that. Please send them anyway. Hang with Jesus. Good to see you. That's something that needs to be addressed. Hang with Jesus. The prophecy of the scripture is going to be fulfilled, and we do need to pray for strength. We need to pray for one another. We need to pray for our faith to ever be increased. We need to pray for that we continue in the faith and for strength for our brothers and sisters in Christ to endure what's coming. We can't change what's coming. Now that we can't do, but we can be strong and we can be fearless. That's the thing we've got to do. We've got to walk in the faith and maintain that faith, because we can't change it. You remember when Jesus taught the disciples to pray, when the disciples came to Jesus and they said, Lord, teach us to pray. He said, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And right after that, he said, Thy will be done in or on earth as it is in heaven. Well, this prophecy is going to be fulfilled. And when we pray those words, we're praying for this prophecy to be fulfilled, because it is God's will that this take place. It's also his will that we bind together in prayer and that we support one another in that. So we can't change it, but we can most certainly strengthen one another during this time.
That's to me.
Huh?
She said, Happy Mac said, Hi, Sandy. Hi, wonderful Sandy. Hi, Happy Mac. Let's check and see if there's another Sandy.
Well, Texas.
Sometimes there's some Sandras and Sandys.
Yeah, sometimes there'll be more than one Sandy on the thing. But yeah, Sandy says hi back. Texas Janet said a teacher posted that they're making teachers who are not inoculated wear a yellow lanyard to mark them. Kind of like that. Give me that charger over there on one of them cords. I forgot to plug this in. I hope they can still see me all right. I probably froze right there for a second. That gray charger will be good, or that big one, either one will work. That and charges pretty quick. I need the cord too. Plugged in, those white ones plugged in there. There you go. I hope I don't go dead before it. No, it's not going to go dead. It's just slow, it says. But anyway, Texas Janet said one of the teachers had posted that the teachers were going to have to start wearing markers on them to show that they're unverified, kind of like those people did over in Germany. You remember they had to, there were Jews over there that had to wear stars to mark that they were Jews. So yeah, how about that? Have to mark you and try to shame you in some way. Kat said, I told my husband to recognize as an ill. Yeah, I hear you, Kat. Oh, hello, Julie. Oh, goodness. And plane preppers, CDC and Pfizer employees are exempt. Yep, they sure are.
What about that?
And there are still people who trust elected officials. They sure are. There's people who still just love them. They are their idols. We've had double standards with politicians for years and years and years. But what I was going to tell you is our governor here in Kentucky, this year, during all his mandates of masking, he was out in public hugging people and shaking hands with people and wasn't even wearing a mask. It was like the governor in California. Right after he did all those mask mandates, and they seen him in a restaurant partying down with a bunch of people, none of them wearing masks. But that's okay for them, because all they have to do is turn around and go, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to put mine on, or I forgot to bring mine with me. And everything's okay, and everybody just lets it ride. Say it's no big deal. But if a company does that in the United States now, they're going to be fined. It's not going to be overlooked. They'll be fined. They'll have to pay a fine or shut their doors. I tell you, it's pretty pathetic. It just really is how the government treats the people of the United States of America. And it says Cat, FDA person who approved the verification was the wife of Fauci. Wonder why it was approved. Yeah, the reason it was approved, and it wasn't just because of that. The main reason it was approved was because of this right here, money. That's why all this stuff's going on right now is money. Pfizer in the second quarter of this year made over 80-something billion with a B, $80-something billion. And that's why they're pushing this booster now. There'll be another ton of money that'll come in with that. Yeah, buddy. But that's just an opinion. See, that's just my opinion. Well, Kat, I think it's unconstitutional for them to do that, but they don't care about the Constitution. See, that's the thing that people don't understand in today's society, is that we have a bunch of congressmen and congresswomen and senators that don't care about the Constitution. They could care less about that. To them, it's just a piece of paper. Now, we have to go back several years, and when George W. Bush said that about the Constitution, it was just a piece of paper. I don't know if y'all remember that or not, but you need to research that. And he also gave this big speech about the NWO, the New World Order. Now, this was several years ago. How many presidents ago?
Bush, right?
The second Bush. I think it was George Jr. How many presidents ago was that? Or was it the father? Anyway, it was one of those two Bushes. It's been, that was in the year 2000? Was that when that was?
That's the boy,
yeah. I mean,
now I think that's
been a pretty good ways back.
The dad.
Yeah. But they were talking about this back then. And here's the thing about it. They were Republican presidents. See? Yeah. They were Republican presidents. And everybody wants to say, well, if the Republicans had the House and Senate, they could straighten things up. Well, they've had the House and Senate and the presidency's branches seat difference of times, and they didn't straighten anything up. I don't know what people are waiting on or thinking it's going to happen, because it's not. This thing is coming to pass as it's been prophesied, and these people have been put into place, and they're just as evil as the day is long. Let me explain how this is with these politicians. They're just like Pharaoh. This generation of politicians have been raised up and put in place just like Pharaoh. God raised Pharaoh up to show his might and the strength of his right arm to the children of Israel. That was why Pharaoh was raised up. There's people raised up and put in positions of power for reasons and purposes, for prophecies to be fulfilled. And we have to understand that and accept that. That's just how things are. If you're a follower of Christ and you believe the scriptures, that's how things are. Anyway, CJ said, I'd ready to see what they'll do to us in 3 more months. We don't know. It's just hard to say what's coming down the line next. We don't have a clue. Don't have a clue. Yeah, Julie, there's a lot of people going to get fired. They're going to get, just like the people with the airlines. They said that all the people that didn't get the verification, that they were going to put them on leave, unpaid leave. So they'd be laid off without any kind of income, and they won't be able to draw unemployment. But now we saw, Sandy showed me a map today of the United States. There are tons of states suing this administration right now over this.
That's about close to half, maybe.
Yeah, about half the states in this United States is suing this administration, saying that this is unconstitutional. So, hopefully you'll be in one of those states. We weren't. Our governor's right ended up to his neck with them. He's hoping they'll keep it going. Yeah. But I don't care. My governor means absolutely nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. To me, he's just another puppet on a string and a joke. That's just how it is. All righty, let's get on down through here. I'm falling way behind. Abigail Irvin. Hello, Abigail. It's good to see you. Our friend from across the big waters. Yeah, we can't put that on, Gene. I'm gonna have to hide that. We can't say that or we'll get banned. Okay, my feed jumped real quick. Now saying hi to Abigail. She had wrote something. I was going to try to catch it here real quick. So anyway, I missed it. Let's see here. Yeah, I told Sandy that PAEMT FF9. I told my wife that here a while back, that if people ask you something like that, then you have the perfect right to turn around and ask them if they've had their hepatitis shots. Have you had your vaccination for stuff like TB? Have you had your vaccine? This stuff like that, because you've got as much right to know about theirs as they do you. Absolutely, yeah. If they can violate your privacy, you can violate theirs. Yeah. Coconut oil and peppermint oil. She's a smart girl in New York City, but for toothpaste, that sounds like a good one. Let's see here. Paulette, you're right. Where two or more gathered in my name, he said, I will be in the midst. Boy, we had a good Bible encouragement this morning over on our Kingdom Message YouTube page. Link to that's in the description box below. We did a morning devotional like thing, and I really had a good time with you guys that showed up over there. Yes, Abigail, I agree with you. It's disgusting to have to wear an emblem. Cammie, I hope people wake up too, but it's going to be too late when they do. Or if they do. See, that's the problem. People, here's the thing. I honestly don't think people will wake up. I think we have such a majority of people that have been delusioned. The scripture says that God will send people a strong delusion, that they'll believe a lie and be damned. And I wonder if that might be where we're at right now with this stuff that's going on. I don't know that that's the place we're in, but I wonder that at times because of how, in my opinion, of how delusional people are about this. It doesn't seem to matter. It doesn't seem to matter what facts you put in front of anybody that follows this line of thought with the government. It doesn't deter them in one way or the other. We've got family that it just didn't matter how much we talked to them, how much we showed them, how many facts we presented to them, how many links we gave them to follow and check up on this stuff, and professionals and people who have been in this business and in this line of pharmaceutical for years and years and years and have made a profession out of it. It didn't matter how many people we sent them to listen to and talk and explain this stuff. It didn't matter. They still went ahead. They just went right ahead and done it. They went ahead and got their inoculations, buddy. And it's frustrating. That's people who have a delusion about this stuff. And they just can't break that spell for some reason. Yeah, My Body, My Choice died in 2021. It sure did. All these people, you remember all these people were running around in Washington, D.C. wearing those hats with the cones on, hollering, my body, my choice, with their signs, running around and protesting, my body, my choice, my body, my choice. Well, that went down the drain. Bye-bye to that. CC December. There's also a lady out there in California. Her name is Peggy Howe. I don't know if you all know her or not or follow her or not. But if you live in California, she lives in Orange County, California. She has a YouTube page. She also has a Facebook page. The American
Healthy American.
The Healthy American. The Healthy American.org or .com. Org. I think it's .org. TheHealthyAmerican.org. She has a ton of information on her website. She has a ton of information on her YouTube page. If you live in California, trust me, she has every law in California covered and everything you can do about it or against it. If you're from California, you might want to check in on her and follow her on some of these channels. And hello, Kathy. Hello, Mamie. It's good to see you. Mamie said we went out to eat after church today, got to the door of the restaurant, and there on the door was a sign saying mask and verification required for service in a town of less than 1,000 people in rural Arkansas. How about that? Then I would venture to say, now this would be my guess, and again, I can't prove this. I'm just guessing. I'm just deducing things. I would venture to say that they probably applied for the PPE back when it was available. Now that would be my guess. And when you apply to the government and you get this stuff from the government, they want to hold you accountable. It's just like back a month or so ago. Who was that guy? The Attorney General? Who was that guy that said all these people that got that stimulus, they are beholden to the government to do what the government wants them to do? I can't remember who that guy was. Oh, but he came on the next day and apologized. You remember that? I can't remember which official it was, but it was a government official. They was talking to him about people not taking the verification. And he said, oh, yes, they should. If they took that stimulus, then they owe the government. They're indebted to their government, and they should be made to take that. Well, of course, he backed up the next day and said he misspoke it, that wasn't what he really meant, even though that's how he said it. And again, you know, those folks can say what they want to and then just change it the next day and everything's fine and nobody remembers it. But that's what happens when you take money from the government. These PPE loans or PPP loans that these businesses took, they're going to be indebted to their government for that. Don't think they're not. They're going to be reminded of that. Absolutely. You got to be careful, because when you're a borrower, you become a servant to the lender. Keep that in mind. Practice what you preach. Some people need to learn that. I agree with you, Kimberly. We most certainly do. All of us need to do that. All these people, Texas, Janet, I would say that if you could uncover everything, all of these people are investors in all of this stuff, because all of our senators and all of our Congress get huge money every year from the pharmaceuticals through their lobbyists. Lots of money. Yeah, I posted a link over on our locals page. It's in the link, and there's a link in the description box below also to our locals channel over there. If you want to go over there and join up on it, we talk more openly about politics over there than we do here. We say things over there we can't say here. But there's a link over there to a spreadsheet that shows the actual money that our senators and our Congress people get from the pharmaceuticals every year, and it goes back to, like, I think it goes back maybe 10 years or so. It's pretty eye-opening. Yeah. There you go, Kathy. Follow the money, and you'll know where it's going, and you'll know why people's doing what they're doing. You're right, Happy. They're all equally corrupt. Abigail says we have it in Scotland. Our wee beastie is going to stop us even going for a coffee, and you have to show a passport to do that. How about that? Just to get a coffee. Scotland. He's never been a good guy, smart girl in the city. None of that whole crew that was in the White House with him. None of them. Texas said Bush was a horrible governor of Texas. Why would he be a good president? I don't know. He wasn't, in my opinion. This stuff is going to get real crazy, guys, here shortly. I don't know how shortly, but let's talk about that in just a second. The more crazy this stuff gets and the more difficult it becomes to operate in public, the more difficult it's going to become to prep. All these things have consequences. All these mandates have consequences. Now, some of these states may fight this, and some of them may become exempt from it. Okay, and they may be able to do something, because from my understanding of the Constitution of the United States, this is very unconstitutional. But they'll have to fight it and prove the administration wrong, because they can mandate all day long. Our governor, when he went through here, when this emergency order come through back in 2020 in the spring, he went through and just started mandating. But he was just mandating this, and mandating that, and mandating this. He was just like a mandate machine. I like that. That's a new term, mandate machine. That may be what I start calling him, his new nickname, the mandate machine. But that's all he did. Every week he was coming out with something, it seemed like. And but they're not laws. They're not laws. But as long as people follow them, they're just like a law, as long as you follow it. If you don't have people that will refuse to walk the walk and talk the talk and follow these things, unless people refuse it, it's just as good as a law. And then when you get people starting following it, they feel like it's a law, and they feel like that they're having to do something that somebody else is not, and then they feel like that they've been mistreated. And it makes them mad at the ones who's not doing it. And then the ones who's not doing it, they get mad because somebody's mad at them. And all it does is create strife between people. And this government is one of the most wonderful machines on earth to do that, to create strife between individuals. They just do. We talked about that a couple of nights ago in a live. They're not going to manipulate me into having strife with my family or my friends. They're just not going to do it. If my family and friends want to take that inoculation, that's their business. I'm not going to fight with them over it. I'm not going to dislike them over it. I'm not going to shun them over it. But I expect the same courtesy from them back to me. It's just one of those things that we have to do better than what we've been doing. And the people who have, like the president said the other night, he said, I get you. I understand why you people who have been inoculated are feeling pretty put out at these people who've not. I get you. I understand your frustration and your anger. Yeah, why don't you build another fire under it and stoke a little more fuel to it? That's all he was doing. That's all he was doing. That's what they do best, see. That is what politicians do best. They pit people against each other. Yeah, they do that. So this stuff is going to continue, guys. Again, we talked last night about one of the hospitals in New York City has had to shut their maternity ward because their staff walked out because they wouldn't accept the new mandates. They just quit, left the maternity ward without enough help to deliver babies, so they had to close the maternity ward. And this could happen on a big scale all the way across the United States. I don't know. I just know that it has a potential if this continues and at the rate it's going and in the direction it's going, it has the potential to create a lot of problems. It has the potential to create a lot of issues for people who are prepping and trying to get ready for hard times or emergencies or blackouts or grid downs or things like that. So keep that in mind, just like Mamie's Legacy said, in a town of 1,000 people. Imagine that. A small town of 1,000 people. You could just about throw a rock across the city of a town that size. That's a small town. And they require you to wear a mask and be verified to come in and eat at a restaurant. Show proof of a verification. If it's happening there, it's happening elsewhere. Well, I don't have to go in a restaurant and eat. I don't. We've not been to a restaurant. And every now and then we'll stop if we're out on the road doing things and we didn't take something with us to eat. We'll stop and maybe pick up maybe a pizza or something like that. Bring it home to Jeremy. We'll eat a piece of it each and bring the rest of it home to Jeremy. Or we'll stop and get crackers and a drink with it. We do that a lot. We rarely go to a restaurant. Haven't been to one in I don't know when. And it's just that, I don't know. Things are changing, guys, and they're going to keep changing. They're going to continue to change. But don't be sad. Don't be in anxiety and anguish over these things that are coming. Because if you're in the place you need to be with the Lord Jesus Christ, then you don't have to have anxiety and depression and stuff over this. You just don't have to have it. Stomp down opinion on the end of the rent relief for American citizens and those homes being taken by incoming immigrants. Well, here's the deal with the moratoriums being ended. Here's what I see. Now we've had rent moratoriums for over a year. People haven't had to pay rent, and eventually that's going to end. We've had a lot of building owners, people who own rental property. There's been a lot of people sold their properties because they can't collect their rent. And to my understanding, there's been a lot of banks bought a lot of these properties. Or people who represent big banks or lending companies have bought a lot of these properties. And we have seen throughout the United States large communities that people would go out and they'll buy a piece of property. It'll be several acres and they'll start building houses in it and they'll put those houses up for sale or on auction. Well, we've seen a very large money management group go in and buy the entire properties out. All the houses and property at one time. And we have seen, I think the report was 2/3, and this has been months ago, that 2/3 of the mortgages that banks hold right now had been bought out by the Federal Reserve. And no doubt it's probably up to half now or more. Who knows how many. But at some point, there was a fellow said here a while back. He said, you're going to own nothing and be happy. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they're pushing at. That is exactly what they're pushing at. People are going to be put out in the streets, and you're going to live in a place that has been made for you, and you'll be the servant of the lender. Yep, that's my opinion. Paper and ink. Prepper library is still usable without electricity and or internet. I'm not sure what that is. Abigail said we're having shortages there, and they said in the paper that we will have to get used to not having certain things. Plus, they're trying to rush through new HGV drivers because of shortages. Yeah, we're going to see that here in the States, I think, too. Walmart, the Walmart executive guy, the big guy, said this past week that they have been experiencing shortages in certain things, and they have been working and trying to make plans for 2022 ever since the first toilet paper run. Well, they know what's going on. These people know what's going on, and they made the statement that there would be certain products that they would not be able to get a whole lot of in the future, and certain products that they would be, and some that they wouldn't, and some things that they would be low on and short on. And if Walmart has that trouble, or they foresee that trouble, I can just imagine what the Dollar Trees and the Family Dollars and the Big Lots and the other places are going to struggle with. So keep that in mind, that if you have holes in your preps, now I try to advise this a lot. If you have holes in your preps, whether it be food, medical supplies, repair items, tools, home repair, whatever it is, if you've got holes in your preps, fill them as fast as you can. If you're a gardener, and I know you probably already do this, but if you're a future gardener and you're going to start gardening, then you need to acquire you some seeds. And you need to buy seeds, if you can find them, that are heirloom seeds, things that you can use the seeds out of next year. And there's also, if you're going to start gardening, and you think you're going to start gardening and you might have a hard time finding seeds, you can take the seed right out of the vegetables in the stores. Take the seeds out of the product, dry them and save them just like you would if you was taking them right out of a garden. And some of them, no doubt, will sprout for you. They may not all sprout, but some of them will sprout to where you can get seeds again. But people are going to need seeds. I just think that we're coming in a time in our lives that we're going to need to grow most of what we eat. Now, that's just my opinion. I might be wrong, but I foresee that. It may not be tomorrow, it may not be next week, next month, or next year, but it's coming, and we need to be practicing toward those things. We don't know what tomorrow holds. We don't know what changes will take place in the next month or two. Smart Girl in City said tomorrow they go back to being banned from restaurants. Yeah. Barron said trucker strikes brewing. Going to turn cities into battlegrounds. It would, if they go on strike, it would do a lot of harm. Hello, Susan. It's good to see you, and thank you for that email, Susan. I appreciate it. Government's finishing the furlough by the end of September. A lot of people will be made unemployed. I don't doubt that a bit. The OB department closed down in one of the New York City hospitals because people had quit. Yes, Mariposa. I'm so glad you said that. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him. We have been called according to his purposes. Amen. The key word there, Mariposa, is those who love him. So my landlord sold 2 of his rental homes due to the way this has gone and his losses. Absolutely. People won't keep a place that they keep losing money on. Yeah, absolutely. Why me? Make sure you make copies of your deeds, any kind of payoffs that you've done, anything like that, because we don't know what's coming down the road. Let's see. Barron said that October the 1st is the jab date requirement for many hospitals. Watch for the breakdown in October. There will be, and we're already seeing that somewhat from other hospitals that have mandated that already themselves. Multiple Walmart stores on the East Coast are now accepting only electronic purchases. West Coast coming soon, very soon. So a lot of the Walmarts are only doing online purchases. How about that? Well, that'll be easy enough to stop, won't it? Flip of a switch. Burpee still has heirloom seeds. Yeah, I would recommend if you're going to do any gardening or plan on doing any gardening to get you some seeds. If you don't have any, put back and save back. We saved several seeds from our garden this year. Among them was corn and peppers and tomatoes and things like that. But now I stocked up, guys. I'll tell you, first of the year, well, not the first of the year, but after this thing happened in March of 2020, Sandy and I started stocking up on that stuff, on those seeds. When we found them, we bought them, and we bought them. Let me just put it like that. We're not going to be caught with our hand in the cookie jar on that. So, guys, it is a mental. Yes, sir. Let me find where he just said that. PAMT, FF9, both physical and mental prepping. Watch the show alone, and that gives you an idea as to the mental aspects that can knock one out of the game. I agree with that. This is a thing that people have to be mentally prepared for. Absolutely. Yep. And I'm going to let it go at that. We're at 101 people on the video. Guys, give us a thumbs up. We're at 81 thumbs up. And I just wanted to drop in here this evening. Let's catch up with the 100, okay, on the likes. Let's get up to 100 likes. If you haven't liked the video, please do. Don't forget I shared this recipe at the start of the video, and I'll throw it up there again real quick like this. It is a homemade toothpaste recipe, so if you watch the video, it's in the front of the video, and I read off the ingredients to it as well. I know a lot of people was like me and didn't really know how to make a lot of stuff. When Sandy and I started this prepping journey, there's still a lot of stuff we don't know. There's still a lot of stuff we're having to learn. But if you get in there and search and read, and you'll learn a lot of stuff. Get in channels like this. Get in channels. There's lots of good channels out here. People that run channels that have a lot of information on them. And there's a lot of wonderful channels out here that have a lot of good Depression era recipes on them. Be sure and check those out, because those are the recipes if things go sour that we're going to have to learn to cook. We're going to have to cook simple meals, and that's what you need to have recipes of. All these fancy recipes that people put back and collect, and it takes all these ingredients and all this electrical stuff to make them work and to fix them up and make them all pretty and all that stuff's going to be garbage. It's going to be hogwash when this thing comes down the way it's coming. You'll need to know how to fix simple meals with seasoning to make them taste good. So that's the thing to keep in mind. We're at 94 likes, guys. 95, 5 more likes. We got up to 101 there just a minute ago. Let's get up to 100 likes. I'm going to have to jump off of here. But thank you, guys. We appreciate it. And we appreciate your time, because I know it's time consuming to you as well. But I want to share that with you that what had been said back on April the 9th. Was that what it was? Yes, April the 29th by the Speaker of the House, that basically what she said, it's unconstitutional to ask people to prove that they've been verified, and then turn right around, and her president now, just a few months later, comes out with a mandate for everybody in the United States that works for the federal government. That's going to affect up to 100 million people. Yeah, so that's pretty sad. But anyway, we're at 100 likes. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you. We love you. And I thank all of you. If I missed you tonight, there's Clarissa. I see you there, Clarissa. Thank you, 31. Arrow, we thank you. El Chavez, thank you for jumping in. Julie, all you guys, we love you all, and we're so glad that you came by. And I hope and pray that the Lord blesses you and keeps all of you, that the Lord's mercy shine on you, that, buddy, that he just keeps you under his wings. Yes, that's where we want you to be, is under the wings of the Almighty, safe and secure. So with that being said, we'll see you on the next video. God bless you all. Oh, and keep a watch because we'll probably do another one or two this week live like this. Good night, everybody.